We've caught up with John here at the Paradox Interactive Convention, and we're going to get to know a little bit more about Naval War Arctic Circle that's sort of starting to close in on release.
Yes, we are really been working hard on it last year particularly, and the release is going to be in the second quarter of this year. So we're putting everything together, and we have been working earlier on the simulation parts of it to make it realistic, and the last year we concentrated on getting it user-friendly and improving the interface, and also making it look prettier. And now we're concentrating on making good scenarios and a good campaign.
So what's the real challenge of making a good scenario or a good mission for a game like this, where you have so many different units to select from? And
well, one of the challenges is that we can't nerf or boost the unit at will totally, because we are dealing with real-world units. So if something is overpowered, then it probably is. It's also a challenge that we can't change the map, because the map is the real world, and starting digging is a bit too much work. And making all fit together and make especially multiplayer balanced and fair, that's a particular challenge for us, but we think we're up for that.
so how do you tackle that in a campaign where you're always using the same map? How do you sort of create variation, because there's no sort of easy way of doing that?
Well, except that our map is like 35 million square kilometers, so we can choose a lot of different areas, and almost every scenario will take place in just a small part of that huge region, and it's a lot of things to choose from, a lot of places we can select for different types of scenarios.
So what approach have you taken to the missions? Are they going to slowly ease the player into how to use all the units, or what's your approach?
Yes, that's exactly what we are going to do, and we're starting off as is normal with some tutorial missions where you learn the different aspects. We first learn to control your units, you learn about the sensors, you learn about the weapons, you learn about how to refit your aircraft, and then getting into the combat phase and learning how to deal with that. So the complexity of the game will increase as you go through the campaign, and also the scale you have to work on, because you could start off maybe with 5 or 6 units, and then you could go up to handling maybe 200 units.
So if we take it to the top strategy level, and the micromanagement, you can equip your units with different sort of sets of weaponry and stuff like that. And that looked really complex. There's a lot of choices to be made, especially if you got 100 units on the map. Could you talk us through that and sort of what you wanted to cater to?
Well, we want to cater to RTS players, the strategy players generally, and we think that the way this works and is organized is going to be not necessarily trivial, but at least it's going to ease you into the underlying complexities of the game. And we also want you to be able to play the game more casually, where you can launch a group of aircraft and say go do that, and they will actually go do that in a sensible way. And if you want to, and later as you're learning, then you can start picking up that maybe I can micromanage, maybe I can instead of attacking front on, maybe I should just move my planes up behind and that get a better result, or maybe go into the battle itself and choose which weapons are used by which platform, which is possible, but it's not something you necessarily have to do.
And you've also added a story campaign. There's a story to it, and what did you want to bring apart from sort of the harsh realities of warfare, which I think a lot of people naturally who enjoy that will like the game, but what did you want to bring in addition to that with the storyline that you've written?
We want to provide a sense of motivation for the player. Why am I commanding these units, why is it important for me to win this mission? And if you're part of a greater struggle for something that you believe in, and also create some immersion in, because the game itself is, I mean, it's units, it's war, it's cold, and it's about planes and ships essentially. It's not about you don't have direct control of human beings, so that brings the human element closer. That these units are actually manned by real human beings, and we're telling that part of the story between and partly inside each of the missions in a campaign.
Could you talk us through the multiplayer aspects of the game, and sort of what can you expect from that?
The multiplayer is going to be 1 versus 1, player versus player, and we'll provide a great variety of maps which are playable, and everything from a skirmish which you will finish in 10 minutes and up to a large-scale war which might take hours of real life. And that's where the game will really shine, when the tactics and the counter-tactics and all the entire arsenal of everything you can do with different weapons, of course, and jamming, electronic warfare, and especially feints and all kind of tricks that you can come up with against a human opponent.
And do you plan to support the game post-launch with additional scenarios for that?
Absolutely, that's something we are going to provide from the very start. There will be at least 1 DLC available very early on, and more material later.
Are you considering to add more players to multiplayer in the future, or is it set at 1 versus 1?
That's something we definitely want to do. It's something we are planning and hoping that we can accomplish, but it's important that the experience is good. Technically, it's not a problem to have like 4-player free-for-all, but making that kind of game balanced when we have a real world as a map and not a specifically tailored, mirrored match map. So we are going to do work on that and see how we can implement that in a satisfying way.
Are you tracking players in multiplayer as well and ranking them somehow, or?
We are going to use the Steam interface for that. Exactly how we are going to go about that with the rankings and so on, we haven't really decided yet.
And it's coming out pretty soon?
It's coming out pretty soon. It's scheduled for a launch in the 2nd quarter of this year, so it's a few months ahead.
All right. Best of luck with the rest of the development.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.